All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome, welcome. The stream is probably up at this point. Um, so why don't we get started? So there's a few things to mention this morning. We'll share the screen here as well. So we got something to take a look at. But a few things to mention this morning, right? Last night, Elon did his robo taxi, robo this, robo that presentation. It seemed to go like fairly well, honestly. I thought that there was a decent amount of promise from what was shown, right? But apparently the market didn't think so. Realistically, we're down a decent chunk. Market not a firm believer of what's going on here. They had demonstrations, right? I saw the cars zipping around here and there, fully automated. We saw the humanoid robot as well that was playing rock, paper, scissors, pouring beers. So it looked pretty interesting. I know that the humanoid robot realistically was still getting assistance from a remote human, but it's still in the learning stages of the AI process. So we'll see where they're at in about a year's time. Maybe some uh, robot type scenario, but we'll see as that keeps going. So yesterday, like I said, we had the CPI data. This morning we had the PPI data that came out a little hotter than expected, but initial reaction from the market was to the upside. You can see the year over year on the US PPI here, 1.6 expected, 1.8 actually came out. Higher than the previous, higher than the expected. 0% on the month over month though, which is good. You also have 2.8%, which came out on the core year over year, which again, hotter than expected and the prior numbers. Um, so I was a bit intrigued as to why the market initially had a pop from it, but right now we are slinking a little lower. And this move on the most recent upside momentum, I think that it's more so of a short cover without too many new buyers. So we have to be pretty cautious about that. We want to see heavier and new buyers coming into prices. And what has to happen in an all-time high when we're talking about the S&P is that they should want to hold a balance and create a balance into that high to actually generate some kind of new buying interest rather than seeing too many acceptances maybe into distributions lower. So right now, as things stand, I do want to see these guys sustain and try to hold a balance to this upside, but they're getting fatigued. So you might have to see better buyers coming in at lower prices. So in terms of the inflation data, yesterday, right, we talked about the consumer price index. Today we had the PPI, which both came in hotter than expected. We had a blowout jobs report, which has pretty much destroyed the bets that the Federal Reserve will go for a 25 basis point cut next month. If we take a look at what the odds are there, F1 Fed Watch, should have loaded this before. But the Fed Watch futures, right now, the odds of what the expected decision looks like next month, this is November, right? So the target rate, pretty much expecting about 84% right now to see just a single cut in comparison to a double cut, right? Let me see here. So there was still like even a month ago, there was like a tiny percent chance that you'd see a double cut realistically. So like that's something to keep in mind. But with this like hotter data, they're obviously not going to get super aggressive with the cutting, right? They've already been aggressive once. They kind of want to see things actually move in the direction that they're expecting things to move into for them to get more aggressive again. So it could have been maybe a fault. But the Atlanta Fed President Raphael Bostic is definitely open to holding rates steady next month, which does make sense based on the current data that we've been looking at. I think that we have the ability to wait and let things play out a little longer. I agree with that. There are elements of the CPI report and the PPI even, which I think validate the view that this is what he said. So, given the strong labor market report with two consecutive 0.3% core CPI prints, the Fed is likely to pause the easing campaign in November, which is not necessarily good news, I would say, right? Since they've started this aggressive cut cycle, the expectation is to kind of continue that momentum. If they keep things on hold, might be conviction that they might have made a mistake. So, um, we'll see how that shapes up. But realistically, as I'm looking at these equities, I think that you'd probably want to see better buyers at lower prices. That's kind of where things are going right now. They've tried to make moves to the upside yesterday. We didn't make a new all-time high on the SPOOs. We did technically in this last run on the NASDAQ make a little print higher, but we failed at the top of the auction at that 510. So buyers, right, they have a lot of work to do if they want to see this continued momentum today. So I'll outline kind of what I'm looking at here with the potential. I am still looking for the long side to continue, but it might be a tougher fight and maybe at lower levels realistically. But before we get that going, let me see here. We'll put on Steven. He can talk about oil for us, and then we'll talk about equities. With hair everywhere.
Good morning, Victorio.
Morning, Steven. How you doing?
All right. What are you up to today?
Buying dips, baby. We'll see. We'll see. But that's generally the thought process as of now.
Well, that's good. You gonna record?
I will now.
All righty. Well, good morning, Vic. Good morning, TradePro Academy. Oil market is up a little bit. We opened about 50 cents higher than we opened yesterday. Yesterday was a, excuse me, an up day. So we've got our pivot sitting here at the $75 level. We caught her open just above that this morning at 75.19 or so. And so S1's down at 73.82. R1 is up at 76.80. And we're basically just kind of running flat. I mean, your eyes can show you that since 5 o'clock this morning, we've just been running the VWAP. So at this moment, there's not a trade on because we're just dead on the VWAP. If we break that $75 level to the downside, then we'll get short. You break the opening range of 75 mid 40s to the upside, then we'll get long. But at this moment, we're going to have to wait and see what this market does. So we'll watch it and trade it. You know what's up. Vic, back to you.
Perfect. Let's stay with these equities. Good morning, everyone. That's coming in. Equities. So looking at both the S&P and the NASDAQ, right, how things are shaping up, we've escaped a very large balance that was created through weeks and weeks of battle on both of these markets. So we have this like big auction over here on the S&P that we finally broken through above that 5,800 area. So realistically, when we do this, well, right now we're also trading into an all-time high. The best case scenario for the bull side to continue is to pretty much grasp and create a balance into that high area. Because if we lose this and we start moving back into this larger balance in auction, it's not good. It is not a good sign for these buyers, right? When we get a move like this, an expansive move outside of the balance, and we have a P-shaped profile, right? A P-shaped profile typically tells us that it's most likely short covering when we have this like creation of the balance into the high. Now, the bottom band of that balance happens to be around that 58.20. So this is an area that we're going to talk about. It's important for us. But when we get this expansion balance realistically, you want to see new buyers shaping up. When you get these kind of short sell or these short coverings, that's not necessarily a sign that like new happy buyers are coming into the market, which would suggest that you probably want to find buyers at lower prices. But the best case scenario is that we just like rotate and create a balance into this high. So for me, that would be around this 58.20 as the bottom band of the balance that's trying to get created, and then we can see how high it goes. But we've made an all-time high on Wednesday, the 9th, right? I believe that was Wednesday. And we made an all-time high there, and we haven't necessarily tested it since. So that's not super attractive for new buyers to get into prices. So as I see this S&P right now, if we open above this 58.20, I'd want that 58.20 area to hold bid, right? We can look at the delta as well to give us a better understanding of where that might be. But I'm looking at 58.20 and 5800 as the two areas that I'd expect like the buy side to try and come in on the spoos. So that's what I'm looking for today. If we fail here and start offering under 5800 today on this session, like aggressively 10-15 point movement, I think that the sell side kind of comes through on the day. Even under that 20, it gets a little limited for the new buyers to come in and try to hold this thing out. Very similarly, here on the Nasdaq not at all-time highs, right? Nasdaq's still very far from all-time highs. The Nasdaq all-time high is all the way up at like 21,000 and like three, or sorry, 200 and like 30 or whatever it is. I don't know the exact number, but it's up here somewhere as the all-time high. We are far. We are not close to that all-time high. So what Nasdaq did well, though, is we expanded outside of this very, very big auction, a 350, 60 point balance over here. And we have the 320 area, right? The 320 area is the top band of this auction balance. So for me, realistically, as I'm looking at this, even like yesterday, my neck. Oh, no. So, anyways, like the 320 area is pretty much like the last chance for me to see the buyers hold. Maybe there's some kind of attempted buy from 260, but I'd be very cautious under that. So the 320 area, we want to hold that, and we held it pretty well yesterday into the overnight and the day session. Yeah, okay, we moved a bit below it, but nothing drastic. And we made that move. We actually made a new high past these prior highs into the top of the balance. So I've got two levels right now, 370 and the 320 to find buyers. Nasdaq is still losing steam on that buy side. It doesn't look like we want to cross and close above that 380 on the overnight session. So I got to be very cautious with this. Maybe we find some buyers at lower prices, but we'd really, really want that 320 area to hold. Otherwise, it gets kind of ugly into this Nasdaq, right? So you're starting to see the failure of buying into this expansion higher, which is not a good sign realistically. So these guys got to get in gear today and start this aggressive buying, right? Maybe at lower prices, but they really, really got to do a lot of work if we're going to hold this. So it's the same plan as yesterday, right? 370. If we bid that aggressively on NAS, I'd probably want to look for some longs into that area. Last chance is around the, like, we can say 315 to 320 realistically. Last chance, then it gets very dicey from there. Maybe some guys come in at 250s, but I want to hold off on that. On the S&P, similar here, the 20 area, I want to see these guys come in with a buy, especially if we try to open above it. Otherwise, I'm looking at that 5,800. There's a midpoint at the 13s as well, which again, I want to be careful with that. But right now, as things are shaping up, these buyers are having a lot of trouble. Every bid that comes in that like springs prices up gets reoffered, unfortunately. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. I as things stand, based on auctions and based on balances, the upside is the right side. However, right, you're starting to come into last chance territory of this buy side trying to open up. So last chance territory for me is around like the 315, 320 on the Nasdaq. And then around that, like I guess like 5,800 on the SPOOs. So these territories, right, they really, really need to hold an aggressive bid. Otherwise, we start getting into sleepy territory slash territory where the sell side might get attracted to what's going on and the failure to actually hold above this balance. So not great, not fantastic. Something to consider on this Friday, right? Typically Fridays they do have kind of a little notion of finding bids, but they're getting a little scared today. But let me know if you have any questions here. I'll type these things out in Discord as my plan on the day. It doesn't change from yesterday. It's the same thing. We've pretty much not gone anywhere net, right? And we'll go from there. So the SPOOs, what are the SPOOs? The S&P 500 futures. Let me just type these things out. If you guys have any questions, let me know. And we'll go from there. Spooze, spooze, spooze. No. Start a rating here. Doing like this. It's pretty sunny this morning. Yeah, Mike, I'm looking at the same thing realistically. Like, if these sellers come in off the rip and things are just like you start destroying these levels, like, wow, I don't want to be a buyer, honestly. Skeptical buying. How many cons do we have pre-market? Ass. 117,000 on the spoos. About 6 minutes before the market opens. Nasdaq kind of weaker here. S&P still trying to do the dance above the 20. Yeah, like when PPI comes out after CPI, like CPI has already pretty much done all the work on the movement. So like when the PPI report comes out, it's kind of muted realistically. Like the I guess like surprise or volatility from it isn't, it's kind of overweighted by the CPI report. It's like lying back in this chair. That's how I trade. Every bid kind of gets slapped back down. Pre-market though, but still. Hmm. Oh my God. Been going to like physio slash like I don't even know what it is. Let's call it physio. I feel like my neck's getting worse.
What's wrong with your neck?
I don't know. Like it's been a long time thing. It's just like cracks all the time and it's like super tight. It's like trickling into like my shoulders too. But I don't know how much I believe this physio. It seems like my neck's getting stiffer. Unless there's a process of going from it has to get stiffer before it can get better. Chiropractors suck. Don't even get me started on chiropractors. I don't want to hear that word in my dictatorship. No, I didn't pinch a nerve though. Like if I pinched a nerve, I wouldn't be do anything. It's just like it's been years. This thing's like cracking all the time. It's just
Maybe you're just getting older.
that is a fact, but I feel like I shouldn't have had this pain like let's say 10 years ago. It's still consistent. I'm just gonna have to accept the fact that I'm just gonna die like this. Yeah, I've done acupuncture actually, Sandra. Like it does help, especially like acupuncture with like the electricity attached to it. But I don't know. It does. It hasn't been like long term solutions, but like right now, like oh, it's so discomforting. Like what is going on? It ruined me. Reiki, I've heard of that Sahaj actually. NASA is getting pumped to the downside. Oh, I wanted to look at the delta. Yeah, I've been doing some like natural shit too. We'll see. Obviously, I haven't done a lot of it, so we'll see what the outcome is. But so far, not a fan. Not that I expected to like fix everything in a day, but still. Like you look at okay, so yesterday we had a lot of like negative delta towards that 20. Right now on the S&P is trying to hold. Like the thing is, the next big block of heavy imbalanced delta is down at this like 05 5800 on the SPOOs. So like if we lose that, like that's pretty much the target area to see if anyone wants to start buying that again. SPOOs are trying to hold out a bit better, right? You have some guys that are kind of trapped into the highs from like lower highs in the previous sessions. Nasdaq had a lot of delta yesterday into that, like even on the overnight at that same area, 360, 370. Right? The fact that we're kind of like moving below it, this is like a very important factor to like catch a massive bid through to actually hold on the buy side. Otherwise, like I'm a little skeptical from these guys because then at that point, like you start revisiting these areas and like I guess like over here into these like blocks into that like 310, 320, they'd want to hold it, but we're pretty close to it right now, and the market's about to open in like 15 seconds. There's the open. Let us see. Where's my timer? Oh no. So I'm gonna wait, see how these guys shape up. But like this thing's getting offered pretty hard. Some like pretty big sellings trying to come in on NASDAQ into these lows right now. Like pretty large negative delta. You can see on this chart as well, this negative delta stacking up at these like 30s, just continued selling. Um, what else? S&P on the bid. Not a big bid, but like trying to flip a little. There's a Nintendo alarm. A lot of selling now, 325s on NAS. Could be getting stuck. S&P divergence. Let's put fatty on here. A lot of negative delta builds up down into this low 320 area on the NAS. SPOO's trying to climb. I don't even think that they hit that 320 here, but a lot of divergence right now. This is like pretty much one of the last chance barriers we were talking about here pre-market for this Nasdaq to catch that bid. It gets a lot more attractive if they can bid through that like massive negative delta though, which sits at what, like 370, 360.
Morning, Vic. Morning, Trade Pros. What's up,
Morning, Fetty.
guys?
What's up?
What's up, buddy?
As weird divergence to start the day. One is on the bid, one broke through support.
Yeah,
Ah, going a
big
minute
bid on the
here.
SPOOs.
You don't want to predict which one is right or build a case for one on the others.
Just keep buying.
Uh,
Nice bid on the SPOOs here. Nasdaq in
nice
dangerous
bid.
territories. Nice bid.
Nice bid on the.
Naz, you gotta do the magical move above the 370, 360 area if you want to hold this buy. Hmm. I think this NQ tries to catch up. S&P's like tough territory for me comes into like the higher 30s. Like Nasdaq cannot catch a bid from these lows. That's the thing. If this S&P turns around right now, Nasdaq's gonna get nuked. So either Nasdaq rallies about 100 points right now, or we could be looking for the sell on the S&P at some point a little higher. Okay, Nas trying again. 300 positive delta, 340. Getting rejected. That's no bueno. The more it does this, the better of a sell the S&P starts to appear. S&P and La La Land, Nasdaq. Prayer circle for turbo bid. It ain't looking good. I think the S&P is a sell.
Yeah, that's what it's giving. S&P's pulling back now. Let's see if Nasdaq can take out that low. It's confusing price action.
Yeah.
Okay, I like the sell on NQ considering you're below a key level, but like I'm not gonna sell 340.
It's a bit tight.
Yeah, I'd rather honestly buy it here into like the 60, 70 area and then there look for a sell. But at the same time, like who's
There's a huge negative delta that just got added into on the Nasdaq at 325. Hmm. And this is why I wait like 10, sometimes more time. If Nasdaq can't bid from this like 315, 320, I think that they do try to buy at lower prices, which like I don't love that idea, but like I think the buyers are gonna come out at some point here. There's a bit of strength still trying to hold out. I think they just like want better prices, which I'm not a fan of, but the spoos, right? They're just catching down with the Nasdaq. High 30s trade they get offered here. This Nasdaq looks like fucking maybe head fake lower, rebid like crazy, and then we go on the bid. Ay, 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 ay. A lot of people jammed into the lows on this NAS. Let's see. Back to 340. What? 340 is trying to push. No new high on these rotations. Pitiful. Spoos in the middle of nowhere. What was the low of the morning session on this spoos? Like 23s maybe. So the days start last few weeks, just nothing. You get a bunch of range rotations, sucks you in one way or another. You don't wait for
Yeah.
the expansion, and then you get
And
your
then
ass
you're
handed.
caught on the wrong side.
Yeah,
Yeah. Better wait for a clear picture than trying to predict it.
for sure.
Mm.
They're adding
The
more
divergence
downside to
this
this
week
low.
was intense though. Like they hardly opened on the same node, both of them, which kind
Yeah,
of
I feel like that's been the case for like a few weeks now. Offer heavy here, Nasdaq. So they're just gonna rebid it. Okay, there we go. All right. Well, that didn't really get me anywhere because I still don't fully trust the buyers at this
Adeline.
low.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay. It's okay to not.
Might just YOLO the buy into this low on the Nasdaq. Hmm. See Nasdaq in a 20-point range, 25-point range, maybe 30-ish, whatever. Off the open is this is news to me. Let's see, 17th times the charm into these rotation highs. Not much. Still think they try to expand higher here though.
Me too. I also just think it's too early for me to start buying because I don't
Yeah,
know. That's just my thoughts. I'm hands off right now. The two trades I'm looking for are either into 370. You know, we get like a rejection from there. I tried the short, or if they just too strong and they bid above it, I'll look to buy pullbacks. And below, what do you think, Vic? You start pivoting to the downside on Nasdaq. What level do you look
like
at?
damn, I
I
think they
like
gotta really
270,
yeah, like I think
270,
they gotta
260.
really break that like 250 area on the Nas. Like
Yeah,
even under like 320, if they go a little more aggressive, if they drop like 50 points, like okay, sure. But
yeah. Yeah.
like fuck, the spoos are so strong. I don't see the spoos coming down to like 5800
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah, that too is bugging me. This was in the middle of nowhere and they're strong, so the ideas on the short are limited.
Like I feel like down into this like 320-ish area, maybe a bit lower, like it, I don't know, it's a fine long. Like they obviously they do need to do a lot more work above like 350, 360, but like it doesn't look terrible. They're still trying to hold it. But like waiting the first 10 minutes after all those like billions of rotations now, I pretty much need to see these guys pump. There you go, 350. Big resting order, 350. Eats up that order, gets rejected. Fucking pathetic. A lot of positive deltas built up now in between like 330 and like 350 on the NAS today. Hmm.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking? Sorry. Nice
Nasdaq,
bit.
you drunk, bid this
Nice
shit to the moon.
initial bit from 50. If it holds here below in a couple rotations, I'll try it.
There it starts.
And
Starts. Come on. Go. Hmm. Spoo's if the Nasdaq trades 100, Spoo should be at all-time highs based on my math. Spoo's not going anywhere anymore. Nice bid, 360 is trading. This is the confirmation here. You started rebidding 363. Oops, sorry, 363.70 from that 320 area, right? They should start cooking up some larger continuations. A big ask, or a big ask here. $362s. It's kind of like yesterday where you're not getting like clean expansion. Whatever. It's like a 40-point move off that 320 on like pretty limited risk. What the shit? Oh yeah, thanks, Sierra. Why is it not responding?
Yeah, froze.
It's just whited out and said not responding. It's back. Sierra just requires too much power. Some sellers are trying this 360 right now, kind of ranging. Nice. Nothing's happening right now. 320 is holding pretty well. Nasdaq needs the bid above 360, 370. So I got a freaking parrot over here repeating the same shit over and over again. Friday, we might not do anything anymore here.
That's okay. Rather than getting in there and getting butchered. You had the right idea doing like if you bought 320 or if you attempted it. By the way. Ah,
Yeah,
it's
320 long was pretty much the only thing. It happened pretty quick at
yeah.
the open, but I think it was a good move.
I think there's more to the day than this.
There is, there is. I just mean like in the next like 2 hours.
Yeah, it's 2 hours.
Is there any news that's coming out maybe like 10 or something? Something give this thing a little more life?
70.8 from 70.1. For conditions are expected to rise to 64.3 from 63.3. And on the expectations component, that's expected to rise to 75 from 74.4. And on those inflation expectations, we will be looking out for those as well. For the 1 year, that last time came in at 2.7%.
Nice bid.
5 year,
370, I believe, trades. Spoo's going nice, but like Spoo's like it didn't even trade. I think it traded like 323 or something off the open, like literally off the open. That's come on, man. Goolsby is talking fantastic.
Yeah, and consumer sentiment at 10 as well.
Mike, are you sure in this 360, 370 on NASDAQ? Solid move. At this rate, like if you want to maintain on the bull side, you honestly just want to see the rebid above this like 370 area, like really aggressively. So you can start buying into that positive delta. Yeah, I'd rather not buy it again at 320. Is someone's asking on YouTube about Sierra? Like honestly, everything about Sierra is like on YouTube. Like whatever you're looking for, just Google it. Like it's pretty well explained on, especially on YouTube. Like I know the Sierra chart website's a bit like
return to normal operations later on Friday.
But literally everything. Like I'm no Sierra chart wizard. But whenever I need something, I just hit up YouTube and Google. And if I'm too stupid to find that out, then I just start clicking and looking at settings. For this live session, I've gained $1 billion. Pound Darius, appreciate that. Keep going on the bid. I had overnight trades. I haven't done anything today, right? I was talking with Andrew in the overnight session. Well, I guess in the European session. Just buying and buying and buying. I bought 370 on NASDAQ a few times. That was it. I haven't done shit right now. I didn't get long that 320. I was just waiting for it. Well, I was waiting the first 10 minutes to see kind of what happens, but a lot of people are getting stuck there. Yeah, I don't know how many people trade the overnight session, but usually some pretty solid moves. 370 up to about like 405, 410. Like, it ain't bad, but now they can't get above it. Not that they can't, but like not like nothing's happening at all. Are they waiting for Goolsby to finish up? Goolsby.
Come use it 10 too.
What do we got at 10?
Consumer something. Consumer something.
Okay, at least that's something. Yeah, this year the chart book, obviously, like the full chart book, you can find it on our website under like resources or software setup. It's in Discord too. Like if you go to the futures software channel, you can get it there. It's pinned. There's a free version that's pinned in the free Discord as well about this chart book. It's nothing nothing crazy, nothing special. Very basic chart book. Normally, how many contracts do I trade on SPOOs? Like 3 to 4 on the minis. On micros, depends, but like smaller size. 15s. What a day. What a day. Like, hold before news. The thing is, like, if I'm looking at like NASDAQ, for example, from like an order flow perspective, you've got like, what's it called? You got a lot of like negative delta that's like building up, trying to support this price. It's like holding these guys away from selling aggressively. So, like, oof. This is what I was seeing. This is what I was talking about in the morning session, where like everyone was getting trapped at the 320. Like, it looked like a pretty decent long.
Just under a minute now to that UOM data. Just a reminder now for October, prelim is expected on the headline to rise to 70.8 from 70.1. Conditions are expected to rise to 64.3 from the price 63.3. Expectations are expected at 75, so to rise from the price 74.4. And always will be on the lookout for those inflation expectations.
Yeah, you can only lose your full port once.
And that's 68.9 on the headline, so that's a miss. Condition 62.7, below the expected.
Sell on this NAS.
A lot of sell on this NAS. Again, below the expected. In terms of inflation expectations, 1 year, that is 2.9%, and the 5 year, that is 3%. So just recapping that data, headline, that was 68.9, so it was expected to rise, so actually fell, so it was below the expected 70.8. For conditions, that was 62.7, so below the expected and below the forecast range. And for expectations, 72.9, below the expected 75. On the 1 year inflation expectations, they were 2.9%. So
I don't want these guys to head fake under that 320. I'll just buy that.
5 year, they were 3%, below the prior 3.1%.
It's not far. Reaction against that sell, like, pretty strong here. Let's see. Well done, Mike and Evan. The news YOLOers.
Still looks good. I think you guys can get another extension. And they're offering.
They're trying. Let's see if we can sweep that lower or not. S&P pulls back 4 points. The legendary. Piece of shit can't even come down a little more. Damn. Well, I don't want to be a buyer at 335. Wow, 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 wow. Shit. And this is the chance. Show me the bid that you're made of. Nice bid on
Nice
Spook.
bid.
On this. Fucking go. There you go. Nice bid. Nice bid, but like, where do we go to 380? Big, lengthy, positive delta block, 330s, 340.
We're gonna give Nasdaq a shot. 3, right?
I'm considering the 330s to 340 now. Yeah. S&P pretty much top balance from ATH failure. Got a very nice big positive delta at that 340 on the NAS. Down to 335. Trying to get on this as like a S&P is like mission impossible right now, in my opinion. Unless they can expand into a new high, like higher highs, higher lows on the day on the NAS, like shit. I want to see if they can come back 335, 340. Honestly, it's like more of an order flow move in the middle of this balance, which isn't the best of probabilities. Fucking hell. Oh shit, I was supposed to call someone today. Wilp. I feel like this might be an afternoon type day. I don't know, Fatty, did you fill along?
I don't feel anything. No. I had 0 actions taken today.
0 actions.
Doesn't feel that bad though, you know?
It doesn't. I just feel like a big move is gearing in. Trying to find out like is there
Yeah, I know.
more
That's
on?
like that's why I'm like even like thinking a little more aggressively. You get down to that like 340 area, like he could be a little aggressive on that bid.
Yes, you can lean. You can keep lean on the sell side here, considering you keep like poking in higher highs, higher highs, higher highs, holding in on shallow rotations. Like so, there goes the sell argument so far, and the buy argument is like, yeah, like
Right.
330,
Yeah.
340. You know, maybe hesitate again, but like, damn, like I hesitated
Look,
at 320.
for
Oh,
futures,
that
yeah,
makes
They're just
sense.
waiting for that fucking that 340 area. Didn't even trade.
Hmm.
Nice bid though, but we're getting at least we're getting a confirmation here. So like I can be more confident in like pullbacks. So just like inching higher highs, higher lows. What has the E has been doing? They've just been bidding the shit out of this.
Mm-hmm.
I
The
guess like
system
buy
continues.
areas where sellers get stuck on the spoos. Like it pulled back to 39, I guess. Big positive delta blocks, like fair. There's the expansion.
just to acknowledge remarks from the CEO at Stellantis saying they will not be selling the plants in Italy to Chinese peers.
I think the buzz is real, Mike. Yeah, we are coming into this prior high pre-market here from that PPI news. People are getting a little jammed on the long side at 404, but I like the idea of the continued buy. There's a lot of delta that's stacked lower where maybe I can fish something out if there's any kind of pullback, like starting to sniff out. Let's see, 370, 380, but new highs on the spoos, 50 trades. Why I'm looking at Nasdaq more so is because it actually at least presents some kind of pullbacks. The spoos is just like freaking 3 point pullbacks. God, this Nasdaq. Why would you do this to me? Just gonna keep going, man. This is it. If you're not on the like originating move here, like you just gotta wait. Which like isn't the end of the world, but it ain't the end of the world. You just keep getting stuck at like higher prices on this NAS.
Just to acknowledge monitoring remarks from the Wells Fargo CEO. It says the US economy that does remain strong.
Sellers trying to come into this 427, getting stuck, rebid.
Oh man, I know how you feel. You missed that long, and you're sitting here.
Scratching your butt.
uh, Like the worst thing is to do is like get in front of the momentum and try to be
Nah,
here.
dude,
Nah,
there's no way to
there's just
short
no
this
sell.
shit.
There's no sell in that. It doesn't matter which level you think is the resistance. You gotta keep shorting and it's just gonna keep grinding.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
there's no sell on the buy. Like that's the thing, man. You missed that. Like there was pullbacks to buy into. It's just like when you miss the key area, it's almost like it always feels riskier. So yeah, for me and for Vic, it's more like we're gonna wait for a pullback here.
It's just worth acknowledging that upside in the equity space does continue. S&P 500 itself has hit a intraday record peak.
Even when I was like looking to get a little more aggressive at that, like 340, that's when they were like, okay, he's trying to get in right now, aggressively fucking run it up. The worst part is Vic was right, I was wrong.
Okay.
Oh, Pancake Town is full port short. Yeah, being right but not being on this major move, like not the best.
It's the same.
It's the same as being wrong.
Yeah.
I was like looking to put these limits at that fucking 340, the thing starts ripping. So at least now, like I have like in the afternoon, maybe something you got like a shitload of buy delta that's like shaping up 370, 380. If we ever get that, like I think that's that still holds. This is like the downside of having that timer sometimes because like that 320 looked fantastic. I'm like, you know what? I'll just respect it. I'll have something later.
Gonna have craft dinner later.
Yeah,
You're
later.
gonna...
Later is fucking now. I feel like maybe I would have gotten a little more aggressive if I didn't have some profit going into this from the overnight. Yeah, exactly, Steve. Like if I don't have the gains, then maybe I check on some swings. There's nothing else to do at this point except for wait. SPXL. NVIDIA is climbing higher right now. Man, these fucking NASDAQ guys keep getting stuck short at like these higher levels, making me want to click a little, you know, just a little. That's what it feels like. Just to feel something.
Just for Eli Lilly, according to a piece in the Nikkei, the Japanese government that's said to be on track to approve the Z-bound obesity treatment in the coming months.
tempted selling from here. Do we fade this? Like looking at this like big delta, realistically, even you start getting towards 400 area. It's still far away. I'm actually gonna try to fill a little fade here. Oops. Take a small short into this like 450 area.
Remarks from the Hezbollah media chief Afif says the battle with Israel that remains at its beginning.
Listen, this is very counter trend. I don't recommend you start jumping guns here, but I'm going to take this little piece here, small size.
Big buyer at the 50 on NASDAQ, getting stuck. Well, stuck is a perspective. Here he bids it
Yeah.
immediately.
Give it a minute.
Let me see here. I might follow Vic on this one. I just want to see like one more bid. They hold it. You have my money.
It's not the highest of probability trades here.
Short 48. Let's see.
See if I can fill some in here.
Ooh, too strong. Damn.
Like listen, I'm not saying this is the best trade. It looked okay on the order flow front, but damn, these guys thwacked the buy. I'm out of this. I didn't mind it. See if we can get a little pullback, but we did not. Drop like what, like 10, 12 points. Not enough. This is the long side of the right side. I didn't say this was a good trade. I just have to keep waiting for those longs. I don't know. I'm more comfortable trying to fade an area on like terribly baby size more so than trying to buy these like highs. But I might have to do it. Like they get super stuck and absorb like 460, 470 area. You don't have that much room until 510, but it's a better probability. Now what? He's about 17, 18 point stops on Nas. Honestly, if I want to be aggressive with this, like you see this clustering of buy delta at like 450 where I got nuked, that's where you want to buy. Oh. See if these guys can fill some of these resting bids, and then honestly, I might just end up buying these like high rotations. If this is a sell-off, then the market's rigged.
Just now seen the release of Bank of Canada business survey. So the Q3 outlook does show demand is weak with firms having excess capacity. Price growth for
Oh my fuck, what are you gonna one touch
survey does continue to slow. Overall pressures then little change though from the second quarter.
I don't even think I can get filled even if I wanted to on these longs. You gotta be kidding me. It's like close your eyes and buy type day, but I'm trying to find where I could actually even do that. And these guys kind of one touch bounce that like 450 right now on the NAS. Hmm. Do I do it, Fetty? Am I buying this high?
It's a tough question, Victoria.
I know. This is what happens when you can't get on the originating move. When it like runs like this, I'm not very good at trying to catch this trending move.
Vic, you want to throw up the early exit?
Because the way I see it too is like this whole area between 0400 to like 470 is a whole distribution on NQ. Okay, we get
Yeah.
the early morning run up, right? We get the early morning run up. We touch 470. Now we're trying to offer head fake outside of distribution. Then we catch the trend lower. This is like how my thoughts are going. You know, so it's just here. I would lean more on the try the short again rather than buy a shallow pullback. I feel like buying the shallow pullback, I would argue that better earlier on in the session, 430, 440
Yeah,
as
yeah.
we're climbing up. Now it's just like fuck, like here I'm either gonna short or I'm gonna sit out until another expansion above this area, and then I'll
It's
try to buy.
expanded a lot. Like, man, these guys keep getting short and getting stuck is the only thing that I'm looking at right now. Like,
Yeah,
I
I
know what
see
you're
that too.
saying. I know what
No,
you're
I
saying.
see
It's
what you're
just like,
saying too, because that's why I'm not shorting. It's like it leaves me
yeah,
in a
yeah.
in an empty place where like I feel too late on the long, and the short is just there's no confirmation. So
I'm gonna
I
start
don't
putting
know.
some orders out. I've convinced myself, but like it might be too late. They just keep getting stuck, man. And like
Fair,
this
fair.
is
Shoot, shoot, shoot,
that 450 area, but
shoot, shoot. Break out to catch a continuation outside of the distribution. I like nothing wrong with that.
let me see. Maybe I can get a better fill potentially. Probably not though. What was a little of that move? 46 or something. I'll try it here if I can get a fill. Otherwise, like I can't get on this long, and then I have to wait for like the expansion above that 510. Like I don't know if they pull it all the way back to like let's say 400. It's not possible, but like but we're just gonna keep running.
Just following on from yesterday's update, give you his NOC says oil production on Friday stood at 1.25 million barrels.
I think the only reason to short this is if you have some money to burn. Oh, yo, 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 yo.
Just make you aware via Reuters are seeing them citing letters in relation to AT&T, Verizon, and Lumen. Does follow on from a piece in the Wall Street Journal earlier in the session, though, and largely does appear to echo it.
I'll take these off for now, but I still want to see if we can get into that area. Heavier offer. Let's see how heavy it is. If I get stuck and they bid this again, I might just have to get super aggressive on that long. Yeah, these sellers can't breathe. And that's the day. Yeah, and the daily, that's a good point, Sandra. Daily volume is under 400,000 right now. It's pretty bad. S&P enjoying all-time highs, NASDAQ not even enjoying 500. God damn, like it's a tough decision into these longs, but damn, people keep getting stuck at higher prices. How these rotations are reminiscent of where I shorted and got nuked.
They have been encouraged by China's statements in relation to their domestic stimulus plans.
What are we doing here? Pick up longs, Vic?
No, I couldn't. A little slow. Didn't you want to pull back to that 360 once we bid that? Tisk, tisk, tisk.
I think you see that 50 again. Maybe a little higher, 52s or so, but
Maybe we even see it lower, who knows? Rotations into these highs too. eat up a bid here at 60 and trying to pull lower some decent sell. There's a lot of bids to be eaten up to the downside here, which could pull this a little lower. Wouldn't necessarily be bad. Oh my good. There's a lot of bids to be eaten up to the downside. Come put a bit lower, man. A lot of selling happening at this 450 on those right now.
Colors gauged control here. I should have shorted, honestly. I kind
It's a
of
good
seen
area.
it play. Yeah. I've seen the idea developing, but like my last stop wasn't helping me mentally to try
Yeah,
to short
I
it
think we were a
again.
little too early on it.
It's-
I want to see where they can get jammed and the buyer comes in, though. I don't think this buy side's done.
no, I
They're
don't
selling
think
like
so
kind of aggressive, but
necessarily.
nothing crazy.
Yeah, I don't think the buy side is done necessarily. It's just they might be like taking a break here. A lot of damage was done in today's session.
Still keep selling. Maybe we do get that 400. No, that's an aggressive buy right now. Still some resting orders to the downside to fill on the
Still,
market.
sellers
So
have their foot on the gas here. It's too
yeah,
early.
big seller at that 35, 36. Keep eating up these orders. Hmm. I'm gonna start buying it.
Shoot.
I got away too, just in case. No, I can't fill anything. Fantastic. Angry seller. Ooh, okay, I'm out of that. Yeah, I think that might wrap it for me. Tried two little trades here. I guess I was late on that long. It was an okay area. Some buyers came in, but they might be coming down to that 400 now. So what happens when you miss that first move? So,
That's kind of how I seen it playing out, but I didn't execute on it. I should have shorted again, man. Yeah, I think
into
honestly,
that like 470 area.
yeah, that like when I look at the TPO, I can like remember that visual. You run across the distribution from one end 400, 420, same thing. You know, up into 470, low volume after 470. Hit fake above, catch some sellers, pull back. Now everybody's looking for that buyer that's gonna come in and support price, and that guy is just gonna keep going lower and lower. Liquidity is just gonna until you catch some area where you get some strength, and I'll try it. Uh, fuck, hesitated on that short. I should have reacted, but honestly, my head was in the same area as like Vic. I was like, yo, this is looks too intense to try to short.
Yeah,
There's,
I
it's
think it made sense to try it that second time.
yeah.
And there is going to be some kind of bid that comes in. I might have just been jumping the gun a little too early here.
Because it does have any implications. The US Inspector General's report does criticize the FAA's oversight of Boeing production.
This could be it here. Trade that 400, 410 area. Some big sellers trying to get active at 20. They're trying to beat them up. A little more confirmation. Could end up finally getting that pull back to the 370.
That's honestly how I'm thinking too. I'm like, uh,
They're still trying to sell into these lows here.
yeah, yeah, 66 on the sell, so almost 100 here at the lows one. Nasdaq just, yeah, that's
Well, big selling coming on. Back to that 400. They keep hammering the sell.
mhm.
Relentless. There's going to be a reversal at some point. It's just trying to fish it out. Sniff, 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 sniff. Impressive, impressive selling.
It's a nice sign of strength here. In a rotation back down, I'll do like either 96 long, or if it hit fakes below that and comes back bids above the area, I'll try it on the long side. If it's too strong, it's gonna break 420 and rotate above it and hold the rotations in that region. Shall see here, but this is the first sign that I see of strength ever since the big sell off from 470. So if you're trying to buy into that, it's not a bad idea.
There's just like a huge delta that sticks out at that like 420 that's proving a difficult match for the buyer. See 420 fails again here on this Nasdaq. They're trying. Get stuck into that 400. This was the area that made the most sense realistically to try to buy into.
I have a piece of the long, but not a full fill there. I think I'll come back down 405, 408, maybe even 400. That's
Yeah,
good though.
one
That's
more
why you
move.
wanna see. That's what you wanna see when you're trying to get long after a big reversal, a sign of strength. And then like them holding and on rotations, and you give it a shot. The first qualification is strength, and this is, 396 up into 430. That is some strength. It's not gonna go up there with nobody buying it.
Yeah, or do I just tap out after 2 losses today? I'm okay with that.
So it's like nice, Michael. 410. It's an okay fill. I was trying to fill all the way, honestly, from like pretty much 405 down into like the 400. Fill for every point. I have 1 out of 4. It's I think I'll come back then. Nice. Usually when I tell somebody is like, I get lost on when to buy and when to sell. I'm like, define the region. After you define the thesis, then you wait for strength or weakness. And the
saying that Iran's
fuck,
president
they're not gonna get it.
said my meeting with Russia's president lasted an hour. We talked about Russia taking a more active role in regional development,
Yeah,
the need for a
yeah,
serious
fuck.
reaction to Israeli crimes in Gaza.
I'm gonna take the one lot that fell to I have like 30 something points on it. And yeah, I don't like to be greedy with one lot. Fuck.
I know, dude. Annoying.
Yeah. Michael's gonna jump now. MSA, bro. Have you heard? Have you heard? No, I haven't. I like you. My alternative to MSA, Michael, is like spray and pray. That's the thing is, like, if I am to MSA into a trade, I'll need a 30-point stop, and that's kind of steep for me for somebody who's using 15. You just double my. The loss is gonna hurt a lot more.
I might wrap it up here. Just taking my 2 losses on the day. And it was no real pullbacks after that expansion until like right now. I guess it was pretty solid, but I couldn't do anything and just wrap this up. A little loss on a Friday. Pretty good week overall, but today was not my